Welcome to the iHemp Hour. My name is Dave Crable. I'm with iHemp Michigan. iHemp Michigan's mission is to educate, inform, and promote the research, development, and cultivation of industrial hemp. iHemp Michigan advocates for wellness in people and the planet through hemp, and it begins with the farmer. But today we're gonna start with Mike Brennan down in Ann Arbor. How's it going, Mike?
Well, I'm the non-farmer in the group, doing great. Just waiting for the latest storm to come through, but it's February, right, in Michigan?
Yeah, I know all the ice melted outside. It's really sad.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't get to play hockey out there anymore, do you?
We skated twice so far this year.
Wow.
Outside,
Yeah.
which is special.
Well, that's where you want to be. I mean, you want to feel those elements. You want to be in that,
It's different. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's like riding in the car, riding the bike,
Yeah, like you stick your head out the window,
yeah.
So what's going on, Blaine?
Just enjoying life and getting ready for the upcoming season. I've been talking to a lot of people about actually some contracts may be available for growers. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And then, of course, MSU has the research project that they're doing, so we'll talk about that. Everybody wants to be involved in that project. So, yeah, just a lot of great things happening there. And a little bit of good news I'm going to share around later. So, and we got a yummy, since it's still cold out yet, it's got a yummy, good recipe for the end of the show. And soon March Madness will be here upon us. So looking forward for that.
Cool.
We'll be having some educational sessions going on. We'll talk a little bit later about that, but on the hemp, building with hemp products. So we'll talk about that a little later as well.
Oh, Rachel says hi. Hey, Rachel. So why don't you talk about our sponsors real quick, and then we'll get to our presentation.
All right. Well, this week's sponsors is Down on the Farm and also Icon Processors. And so Down on the Farm has some new products we've got lined up. We've got the bedding available. The bigger bags you see there are about 44 pounds, and the smaller ones, of course, would be for your smaller animals, that kind of thing. Great product. It absorbs more of the ammonia smell. Lasts a lot longer, so you don't have to change it out as often. And if you haven't tried the product, it's a great product to be using. Again, better than the pine shaving, stuff like that. It just lasts a lot longer. It works a lot better. So we have that available on the website. And then we have Icon Process. Yep, there we go, Down on the Farm. You can go down on the farm.biz. You can see it there. And then also we have Icon Processors. They're helping sponsor the show. We appreciate their help that they're doing. Icon Processors has a great line of CBD products. They have tinctures, and they have creams, and they have rubs, and they have some foaming stuff for the pain. Also, my wife loves their wrinkle cream that he has. So if that's of interest to you, Icon Processors, www.iconprocessors.com. You can find the whole line of products there. So we appreciate both of them for the sponsoring the show and helping us out.
Excellent. All right, I think it's time to introduce our guest. This is really cool. This is someone who's actually making it happen here in the hemp industry. So today we have Susan Barnhardt. She's the founder of SHEMP Yarn Company. SHEMP is a women-owned business that blends wool, industrial hemp to create sustainable yarn and knitwear. Whether you knit, crochet, or appreciate sustainable fashion, SHEMP has the impact to affect everyone. And here's how. This is interesting. The average American throws away about 81 pounds of clothing each year.
Yep.
I'm not average. I keep everything forever. 85% of I am not average. 85% of which ends up in landfills. These textiles then break down and release about 500,000 tons of microplastics in the ocean each year. That accounts for about 35% of all microplastics in our marine ecosystem. That's amazing. So here we have SHEMP with hemp. Helping save the world. Welcome, Susan. Great to
Thank you. How are you?
Now, you were on our show
A while ago.
long time ago, over a year. I know, been about 2 years that you've been working on this, and it's exciting to see you making progress.
I've been working on it since 2018 when the American Wool Council decided that they wanted to develop more uses for wool. Believe it or not, there's an abundance of wool in the United States. A lot of it gets exported. But at the time that I was working on that with them, they deserted the project because, in all honesty, there was no really big interest in industrial hemp on the fiber or really bast side, and there was an inability for people who did process or corticate hemp in those ways to understand how textiles work, and so they deserted it. And then in 2020, COVID was a great boon for me because I got to talk to a lot of people and did a lot of intense research. Took some courses. And in 2021, we incorporated the SHEMP Yarn Company as a C Corp. And we began to take this journey in earnest. About 6 months ago, we were awarded an SBA certification as a woman-owned small business in the United States, which I'm very proud of. That takes quite a long time to get done. And but when I established SHEMP, as you know, SHEMP is an amalgamation of the word hemp and sheep, and we had a vision. We wanted to be able to produce sustainable textiles and create a new generation of yarns in the United States out of natural fibers. And I had all that research that, wool and hemp was a great combination because as opposed to like hemp and cotton, wool and hemp does not absorb any water. And the ability to combine hemp with wool is perfect because it sounds odd, but when you process wool, it has little hooks on it. And the hooks grab onto the hemp and they become a perfect yarn. It's a beautiful, beautiful yarn. And so after a lot of research, I came to the conclusion that the United States hemp market was not prepared to create what was needed on the hemp side to create textiles, at least from wool and hemp. I cannot speak for the cotton and hemp side. So, so they never embraced the process, and that's kind of sad, and hopefully they will. So we get all of our hemp slaver from a place in France. Mm-hmm. And so in order for us to create this product, we use 60% of American wool sourced from farmers, and we utilize the remainder of it as hemp from the EU. And everything that we do is done in small family-owned businesses, one in Minnesota, one in Colorado. And, that's my music. I'll turn it off. I'm sorry. I'm listening to Diana Krall. I'll turn it off. I'm so sorry. Hold on a minute.
Well, it's pretty amazing where this is all going. A lot of things happening this year with the fiber. I know we're going to have a few acres done here, but more and more as I talk to other businesses and learn about more other businesses, it's amazing where we're going to go with the fiber here. That's for sure.
It really is. But there is a big hiccup. When fiber comes out of the decorticator and if they shake it through and clean it, and they bale it, it then has to go to be degummed. And there's not a lot of degumming processes in the United States. But after it's degummed, it has to then create sliver. And unfortunately, spinners in the United States are not willing to clog up their carding machines with degummed hemp fiber. So until someone in the United States steps up and invest in the equipment that you can actually make hemp sliver to create textiles, we will be at the mercy of getting it from the EU or China. I do not get any of my hemp sliver from China, but I am aware that many hemp growers in the United States pack up their fiber side of their hemp in containers and ship it off to China and have China then process it. I'm really against that. I want to support, I don't want to support China. I want to support the EU if I have to do something. But anyway, so we took this journey and we eventually created yarn, which was a big deal, believe it or not. And we tested it. I did focus groups and everybody loved the yarn. My intent was always to make socks. So we did create yarn, which we do have, we do have yarn. It's not the primary of my business. It is sort of a secondary outlet. But we make beanies and we make socks, and the beanies are beautiful. They are. Can
we show pictures of the socks and the?
Yeah, I think you guys have pictures of them, right? So these are the socks. We have rag socks, which you can see on Madison's feet. And then we have cushioned socks, which are, all of them are made out of wool and hemp, everything. The rag socks have a little bit of alpaca in them, but they're beautiful and they're wonderful. And then the cushioned socks are great. And then we make beanies, and that's my son in the beanie. Mm-hmm. And that's me in the beanie with my dogs and my socks. So
what do those socks go for then? What do they typically retail for?
We sell the socks for about $35 a pair.
Okay.
And the rag socks sell for $30 and $35. The cushion socks sell for $35 to $40 a pair. The beanies sell for $55 a pair. The beanies are pretty spectacular. Everybody loves them. They are ribbed, and so in between the ribs, it's called a brioche stitch. Somebody who knits would know, but when you open up the rib in the beanie, it's a color. So right now we have purple and black, but we can do any color anybody wants. And the great thing about those beanies is, in all honesty, they are so soft. Nobody can believe how soft these beanies are. Because people have this perception. You're going to get something made out of hemp and it's going to be clothing and it's going to be rough. So when people try the beanies or they try the socks, they're like, I cannot believe this. They are really soft. They're moisture wicking. All of the products are breathable and moisture wicking. They do not absorb, as I said, any water. They're durable. They're completely biodegradable. I mean, they're going to go away. Because I made sure of that. We, as I said, we only use American wool, and we have everything processed in, believe it or not, women-owned, family-owned factories. And I feel really blessed to be able to do that because, small businesses, they really need somebody to support them. So, the beanies we make, as I said, we make all of those things. And it is true that the average American, and I'm guilty. I mean, I can tell you that, women aren't supposed to tell you their age, but I'm 69. And I can tell you that I know that Americans throw away clothing. I mean, I used to get rid of mine too, and think nothing of it. I take my granddaughters to H&M and they buy that stuff and they get rid of it. But then when I found out about all of this, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And so that was part of the impetus for me to continue this. I mean, I have children. I have 5 children. I have 4 grandchildren. I have 2 great-grandchildren. And I began to really think about, like, what am I leaving for them? And then, of course, I'm really blessed right now because sustainability is a big deal with consumers. The average consumer, especially the younger ones, Gen Z and they're all really interested in sustainability. One of the biggest problems with them is they're interested in sustainability, but they're not sure they want to pay for it. So, you either have to talk the talk and walk the walk, or just talk the talk and walk away. So, that's a hurdle, I think, for all hemp businesses in a way, because we do have to charge for the process, for the product, and we have to educate consumers as to why they should buy these products. So that is sort of a challenge for us, but we keep moving along. Right now, we're in the process, truthfully, of putting together sample boxes to send out to retailers and people like that who might be interested in getting the beanies and the socks. I come from the retail world, so we're going to follow that path. We have several big companies really interested in the products, but I really think we need to walk. We have to crawl, walk before we can run. So you can't overpromise. The worst thing a company can ever do with products is overpromise and not have inventory.
Yeah, it's called overpromise and underdeliver. That's
exactly right. So I'm not going to do that. But I just placed an order for more yarn, and we are going to be creating more beanies and more socks. And I just really like the products. Truthfully, I'll tell you about the socks. This is really it's kind of icky, but okay. So I made my husband wear these socks right after we got the first batch of them. And I said to him, now listen, you have to wear those socks. And he was like, okay. So he puts them on. And my husband.
Done that. But go ahead.
Yeah. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, there you go.
So he puts these rag socks on. My husband works part-time at Lowe's, I think, just so he can get away from me. Anyway, so he goes to Lowe's, and he comes home and he says to me, these socks are really interesting. My feet don't sweat or anything. I said, well, that's really good because you're going to wear them again tomorrow. He said, what? I said, you're going to wear them again tomorrow. He said, okay. So he did wear them the next day, and he came home and said to me, they don't stink. They're not wet. They felt good all day. And I'm not just saying this because there are socks, but he was like amazed. And then, of course, I have my one son wandering around in a beanie, and I make them all wear the products and give me reports. But like I said, I had to have real life, people interested. And I have to say that, and I am going to say this because I think this is really important. Melissa Nelson has been wonderful to me. Like, she has really promoted the SHEMP products, and I really appreciate that. But it is a hard journey. I mean, I think, you make Frisbees, right? You still make Frisbees?
I have Frisbees.
Right. You are Frisbees. But it's hard.
Does he have Frisbees?
It's hard. You know what I mean? It's a new product. So It's really hard. And in some ways we're prohibited. And it's hard for me often, because when people find out about this is what they say to me. Oh, you make beanies out of CBD? I'm like, no. And then I have to go through this whole explanation. And
can you smoke the socks, by the way?
Pardon?
Dave gets that all the time.
I had somebody ask me that one day. I smoked your socks. I'm like, no, I really don't think you would want to do that. But it's a really, so I feel like, it's a great product. We're in the right industries to support sustainability. I love that it's wool and hemp, because they both are very natural fibers that take very little resources. They're very durable. They're eco-friendly. And we just keep plugging along. It's a very expensive journey.
That was what I was going to ask you, not to interrupt, but durability. If you're going to spend $30 on a pair of socks, can you say honestly to folks they're going to last a lot longer than, say, cotton socks or wool socks?
Absolutely. They're going to last you a lifetime.
A lifetime. Okay.
Absolutely. You can wear them forever. I mean,
and have you thought about working with Amazon? I mean, it seems like that would be the perfect product to sell on Amazon, and they do all the distribution and marketing for you and all that.
I've thought about it, but I haven't done anything on it yet. But it's a good idea.
You have to give up a lot to do that. They get a pretty hefty commission.
Well, and I'm not really ready to do that yet. I mean, like I said, I need to crawl
volume
before I can, and I have to walk. before
Let's
I can
talk about that, Susan. What kind of scale are you at now? You said you ordered more yarn. Are you this is more of a craft venture at this time where
Oh,
you're
God,
making?
no. The yarn part of it, no. The yarn, I ordered yarn to make beanies and socks. The yarn part of it, in all honesty, I am going to portion that off to somebody because I don't know how to knit. But in order for us to make the products, all textiles are made from yarn. So to make sure that we could make textiles, we had to make yarn. And so we made yarn. And that yarn now, we've taken it from the stage that hand knitters could use it, it's really pretty. But it's not really my forte. But I did it because I had to lay a foundation. Can this yarn be made? Is it what it says it is? Can people use it? Do people like it? What will it produce? So once we did that, then I reached out to sock companies and found out how many yards per pound they need, what kind of, like if it's a 210 or 212 or 2-ply or whatever. And they told me yes. And so then I went to my spinner and I said, can we make this? And they said yes. So we created the yarn for the socks and for the beanies. There's 2 types of yarn that go into those things. And so I just ordered more of that yarn specifically for socks and beanies. And for outdoor apparel, not for the hand knitting side. That's a very different industry, very community oriented. But I come from Fortune 500, and we dealt with major retailers like Kroger and Safeway and Target, and so that's really what I understand. I understand being a brand and going to buyers at different places and asking them if they want to purchase this product. I'm not anticipating we're going to sell thousands and thousands of beanies. I mean, you do a business plan and they want you to say you're going to sell thousands and thousands.
Then you got to project out for 5 years. It's like, how do you even look out 90 days, let alone 5 years, right?
I agree, Mike. I mean, it's just crazy. I'm like, this is a new product. How do I know how much I'm going to sell? I can base it on statistics about socks. I mean, everybody wears socks.
Right.
And I can base it on the fact that outdoor apparel people are really who do those activities are really into sustainability. So I did the research and I can, hypothesize, but I can't guarantee anything. So where we are right now, to answer your question, Dave, is we've run a lot of samples. I'm selling the beanies slowly online to people who actually, hear about them on LinkedIn. I'm not really very apt at social media. So that's sort of a challenge for me.
Yeah, that's where all the action is right now, whether you like it or not.
Well, what I'm going to do with that, in all honesty, is I'm probably going to take advantage of Hemp Today's new program and have work with them. Marshall, Kurt's son, did my website, and he's helping me with the e-commerce. So they know about this and they can help me. So we're going to do that. And, when you deal with B2B, it's a little different. While they like social media, they're really more about the buyer's journey and providing them with the appropriate information so that they can make an educated decision. And in today's world, it's not one buyer. Buyers in those companies, there's a group of them. So that it's like a group decision. So we just have to target the ones that work right. But, we have socks and beanies, and we'll be getting the word out more and figuring out, trying to sell them. And hopefully it continues, because it is actually the only wool hemp socks and beanies made in the United States.
Susan, do you have a website that people can go to? How if I want to buy some of your socks, how would I find out?
Go to www.shemp.com/shop. The cushion socks are not up there yet because we just got them in. And, but other than that, they'll be up in the next week or so. And, before I actually put them up for pricing, I really wanted to make sure that I did a cost analysis. So I was really able to make sure that, if we sold it to B2B, they could do, if they needed to do Keystone Profit, we could make sure we had a good ROI. But when we sell it online, just to gain people who like it, we want to make sure that we're also going to get a return on investment, because otherwise, why would you be in business? So now that we've completed a cost analysis, things will, those socks will now go up online. That's my background, So,
I think what Dave was asking you, and I'll just speak for Dave at this point. How many pairs of socks can you make in a typical month now? I mean, that's what we were trying to.
I can make about 600 pairs of socks a month.
Oh, okay. That's
a nice
number.
In fact, right now, we're going to make 500 beanies in April.
Mm-hmm.
So all we have to do is to keep pushing the thing. So, so for every pound of yarn, we get like maybe 5 beanies. So if I send them 200 pounds of yarn and I say, I want you to make beanies, then they'll make me 1,000 beanies. So do I want to get to scale? Yes. And when I can start to run 500 pounds of yarn to make beanies and socks, I'll be at a much lower price point to spin the yarn.
Economies of scale and all that kick in, right? So we can make, but I don't want to overmake. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, you're working it out gradually.
Yeah, we're working it out so that I have a list of stores that I feel will be good for this, for our products.
Mm-hmm.
And I will create a campaign for them, and we'll probably sell. But I mean, if we did a business plan according to my accountant, I'd be selling 7,000 beanies a day.
Yeah, pretty much. If you got on Amazon, you're in a worldwide situation, so they're going to be selling to everybody.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to do it, Mike. I mean, I have to make sure I can establish. Just like any brand does, you have to establish parameters that you want to meet, key product indexers.
Sure.
And so I have established those parameters. And I know that everybody loves the beanies. I have proven that people like the socks. So that tells me that I can now go to the next step, and I can have more yarn made to make those products. And then when people buy them, I can fulfill their orders.
Yeah, I can see this working really well in REI.
Me too.
That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question, Susan, about, and this is for our audience really, because this is where we need to be. Let's circle back to the fiber and US fiber. When I was doing my research early on the fiber processing, there's that whole degumming process that has to happen in order to be able to run through those machines to be spun.
Right.
Is that the big hurdle in getting, obviously we need more fiber processing to begin with here in the US, but that textile is a tougher, more capital intensive investment.
Absolutely. So there are companies out there that are working on degumming. I'm not really sure how far they have gotten. I know that Renaissance Fiber is one of them because I stay in touch with them. But I don't see anybody really doing degumming in the volume that I would need to have the fiber. So the process is they degum it, and after they degum it, they have to card it. And that's called making sliver. It goes through this carding machine and it comes out like this long snaky thing. But no one in the United States is able to do that yet. Although the equipment is available from NSC up in Fort Mill, South Carolina. You can buy it. It's going to cost about $2 to $3 million at least. And you can buy the equipment and it's beautiful. I've been there several times. But that is the problem. They put it through the decortication system. They get the bast in the herd. And a lot of people just think, oh, I'm just going to send this off and I'm going to make textiles. You're not. Then you have to degum it. It goes through that whole process. And then after it's degummed, as I said, it has to be carded. And that process has to take take place separate from spinners, because spinners are not open to carding hemp. I shouldn't say they're not open, but they're going to charge you an arm and a leg.
Okay.
So they have to be cut. And this is what happens. This is how it works. I'm just going to show you. Okay, so you have these two long things, right? So when you take the hemp sliver and you take the wool sliver, they go through a machine and they go together. And the sliver has to be clean on both sides, and then it comes out and you have yarn. But,
it always, I'm the outside observer on hemp, but it seems like it always comes back to infrastructure.
yep.
Everybody, the thing that's slowing everything down, or actually putting a halt to a lot of these ideas, is there's not the infrastructure out there. And it's hard for private industry to invest $2 million or $3 million. I mean, could you invest $2 or $3 million? No. So, I mean, it's kind of like in my world with technology and whatnot, what is the government provides the basic research and basic funding to get industries up and running.
Well,
And so it seems like what needs to be done here is, I don't know if it's on a federal level or by individual states, because I know we've had discussions where different states are doing something to help the hemp industry. Pennsylvania, for instance, I believe $20 million they put into the hemp industry. In Michigan, is nada. I mean, it's like it doesn't even register on the radar. So it's a wonderful thing. Everybody loves it, but nobody wants to put money into it to get it started. So we have the chicken and the egg situation. How do we solve that?
You know, you do. I mean, I have to honestly tell you that I just looked at the $35 million that they gave out for climate to hemp people. I mean, like for crop rotation and all kinds of things. I'm going to be honest with you. Crop rotation studies have been done in Italy for years and years and years and years and years. What has to happen if you really want to create an infrastructure is either the government steps up and says, okay, because this is how it is. You're a farmer, right? So you make all this hemp, okay? What are you going to do with it? Okay, it's great that you grow it. It's great that you do these things. And it's
so you still got to have, it's like any other farmer, you got to have a customer at the end of when you do it. You know, we're in Michigan, and we've talked many times about how the auto industry is starting to get heavy into hemp, particularly Ford.
Yes.
So, I mean, but because I know one of Ford's major suppliers was looking for 6,000 acres of hemp because Ford wanted to use it to put into fabrics inside the vehicle or components outside the vehicle.
Yes.
I haven't checked back on that where that stands right now.
I know they approached me about it, so I know.
Yeah. So it's again, when we get back to, it's really, I can feel everybody's Blaine's and yours and Dave's frustration because everybody agrees this is a great idea, but nobody wants to put any money into it. You know, so it's like, okay, then what? You know, and the USDA, like you say, they should be the ones that would be stepping up. I mean,
they really should be. I mean, let's face it. They gave out $35 million, right, to universities, which I think is very, very nice. I'm so glad they did. But they could have taken they could take some of that money that they have left and actually say, oh, let's figure out what these farmers who we are encouraging to grow hemp, what are they going to do with it? I mean, like I wrote a paper for AURI. They're out in Minnesota about how to go to market. And I explained that there is no way that the hemp industry can go to market in all the areas that it could without the infrastructure to support the various processes to attain the product. So you can make hurd, okay? That comes out of the machine. Hopefully it's very clean. You can then package it if you get a packaging machine, and you can make animal bedding. And then you can also pelletize it, make it into, I guess, like cat litter and plastics. That's that side. But if they want to revitalize the textile industry, which is really important in the United States, we were a big textile place for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah.
And hemp, they think that hemp is going to be that thing. Well, then maybe Elon Musk should step up and say, "Oh, I have billions of dollars. I'm going to give you $11 million, and you're going to start to make hemp textiles."
Or Jeff Bezos, or
Jeff Bezos,
any of those other gazillion billionaires. You know, they
Bill
got all
Gates
these
is buying a lot
billions.
of farms.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
it's like I said, you can talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk.
Right.
And if you don't want to, then stop talking. I am forced to get my hemp fiber from Europe. Okay.
That's crazy. And then people shipping it to China to have a process only to pay for shipping to come back. What's up with that? You know, so
That's what they do. I was at a seminar and a gentleman got up and that is what he said he did with it. And I looked at him and I said, "Are you nuts?"
yeah.
What
Talk
else
about
did
Ed.
he do? He didn't have any options, right?
Yeah, he said, "I don't, what else am I supposed to do with it?" I said, "I don't know." But as I said, I mean, I have a whole proposal from NSC for how to do this, how much it would cost, what equipment they need. And, you know, and I told Amare, I said, "Listen, if I knew somebody that I could get to do this, believe me, I would hand this to them and I would be their customer." But they can't, at this point, they don't have, even if somebody is doing it slowly, they don't have enough fiber for me.
Yeah.
I
You may not be aware, but the guy that owns the most farmland in the United States is Bill Gates. That's where he's invested his money. And it seems like that, and he's got the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Duh. I mean, that you put those two together, it would benefit him as well, you know? So
it would. I
Susan,
mean,
you've been working with Melissa and others in that. Where is that all process? I mean, they got to be working on that or trying to.
well,
to
I
be able to
think
use their fiber.
I don't think that they. I'm not sure what they do with their bast fiber. I mean, because they cannot turn it into sliver. I need sliver. Like I said, I'm not sure about the cotton industry. I don't know that much about it because I really have always embraced the wool hemp thing because I like the natural abilities of the two products.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm guessing they all sell a lot of herd. And I don't know what they do with the bast, but the bast is a smaller percentage of what comes off, but it sells for more. So kind of in a way, you get a lot of herd and you get less bast, but in some ways it kind of could equal itself out because one sells for more than the other. And as you have more, like you said, if you have lots and lots and lots of herd, the selling price for that is going to go down. But if you have bast fiber that you actually can figure out how to process it into what is needed to make hemp textiles, then the value of that is going to go up tremendously. But as you all said, Bill and Melinda Gates could put the money out there. Elon Musk could put the money out there.
just think what $1 billion would do alone. And for them, it's like he's worth, I don't know, what, 120, 50 billion, some crazy number, you know? So,
yeah. And here we all struggling, just praying that somebody gives us $200,000, you know? But that's, you know, that's the way it is. I am, you know, I'm going to keep moving it forward. I'll probably sell, actually, I'm going to send Snoop Dogg a beanie. Snoop Dogg loves hemp. So I'm going to send him a beanie. And he has lots of money. He might call me. I'll probably, you know, I'll send some other people beanies. My one son lives in down in Cocoa Beach, and apparently Elon Musk comes into a bar where he goes sometimes. I don't know. I said, well, take a beanie and hand it to him. But
yeah, those big foundations typically invest in nonprofits. However, there is an interim between the nonprofit and for-profit that I know it's available in Michigan. I don't know if it's available nationwide. That might be one possibility if you restructured your company and put it into that. Yeah. And then you'd be able to attract foundation money. So,
yeah. So, I mean, I've thought about that. B Corp money, you know, becoming a B Corp.
Right.
And so I would have to investigate that.
Yeah.
But it is a very good idea, Mike. I don't disagree. I think that that's probably the only way I could accomplish this, but we'll see. I'm going to do a WeFunder because it seems like people do really well with them.
Refunder?
Yeah.
WeFund, where they invest money. It's a kind of it's like investing in the stock market, but it's not. But it's perfectly legal, you know?
Yes.
I want to raise $100,000 for this cause. And usually what happens is like National Public Radio or Public TV, well, if you invest $120, we'll give you this premium kind of thing. And that's usually how it works. So,
Oh, like a
people do it all
GoFundMe
the
kind of
time.
thing?
yeah, it's like GoFundMe. So,
Yeah, it's like a Kickstarter.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try it.
there's a bunch of them out there, but they're all pretty much the same. So.
Yeah, they're all the same. I'm going to try it just so I can see, but I'm just going to keep, going on and on and on and see what happens. I mean, if I can get big orders, I can utilize factoring. Do you know what
Yeah.
factoring is?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
your
You get those
receivable.
invoices, turn them into cash, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm okay with maybe seeing if I can get big orders, because then I can take the money. I can use factoring, and then I can take that money, turn it into product, pay the bank back, and still have and have revenue.
Well, and I can connect you to a broker that does hemp factoring. So we'll talk to you.
That
I'll
would be
talk to you
great.
after the
I would
show.
like to be.
So.
I'd love to talk to him because
Yep.
I've done factoring before. We used to run a huge promotion agency. We had 5,000 employees.
Wow.
And sometimes, people wouldn't pay us on time. So we would have the invoice, and I had a factor who would then loan me against the invoice, I only held it for a few days. So that, I didn't accrue a lot of interest or anything, but it is one way to do it.
Well, if you work with the auto industry, I'm a former auto writer at the Detroit Free Press, and with GM, you invoice them and they don't pay it for 180 days.
Well, that's like Walmart.
You're like, how am I supposed to pay my bills? And one way to do it is factoring. So
yeah, well, like Walmart takes forever. And then they take off invoice deductions that are just lovely because you have to figure them out.
Susan, I'm going to pass your information along to one of our members, Rod Glepke. He has a CBD store in Fremont. He just started carrying a line of hemp clothing, and I noticed he doesn't have any socks and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to send him your information, and maybe he'll be able to carry some of your stuff there. Yeah.
Good old Rod. I knew him in another life too. So
well, ours is all made in the USA.
Well, that's what we want.
It's not made there, but everything we do is made in the USA. We are a USA woman-owned company, and those things to me are very important. And hey guys, I don't know. There's so much that we can do with hemp, and I hate to say this is a terrible thing to say. I think I just feel like CBD kind of skewed what we can really do with industrial hemp.
We work so hard, and my partner in another business says, Dave, you need to be more positive. You're negative. You're
a realist.
I do spend a lot of time talking people out of this business because it's so damn hard. But we work so hard to explain that, hey, we can build a house out of this stuff.
Yes,
we can do hats. We can feed animals, we can feed people, but there's a lot of good, but and it's not intoxicating. And then, oh, hey, we can make this intoxicant with the industrial hemp, by the way, called Delta 8, and they're promoting these products that are intoxicants, and we've spent all this time and energy saying it's not an intoxicant, and
well, that's
it's
one
just
thing.
Confusing. It's super confusing for people.
I have to say this: the one thing that's truly lacking is education in this industry. I mean, I worked on Smokey the Bear, so I can tell you that education is the number one thing that has to happen.
Well, even on my side of the 0.3, same thing. Just people don't get it. They don't understand it. All that 80 years of the war on drugs and all that jazz, and they just don't get it. So,
well, we have to educate them. I mean, let's face it. I've been involved in many public service campaigns, and I can tell you that if you allocate your money correctly, like I keep forgetting what it was called, but I used to work with avocados from Mexico when the cartel was around. But anyway, for every pound of avocados they sell, the USDA takes a percentage of that, and they have to use those dollars or those cents for promotional activities. I know the pork board did it, and the chicken board did it. Chicken growers, everybody, and I think that the hemp industry tried to do something like that, but they couldn't get it to happen.
Well, we're in a situation where you can't get banked. Even if you have hemp in your business name, even making hats, they're going to want to know how much THC is in that hat. At least they wanted to know with my frisbee, a plastic frisbee.
Did they?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you can't get bank account. I mean, there's so many regulation things that we need to solve before we can really launch.
Yeah.
There's too much risk in it right now. So
Well, I'm really blessed because see, my products are 60% wool, and so I'm blessed.
Frisbee 75% virgin polypropylene.
You should be able to get a bank account.
iHemp manufacturing. Yeah, no, they said they wanted me to run under a CBD program, and they needed
they want more money. Yeah, then they want a bunch more money. So.
Oh yeah, it's like a minimum of about $250 a month if you work with a cannabis / hemp bank. So
yeah. See, I don't do that. I'm very blessed in that way. So I think that I'm lucky. And
you're making it happen. We really appreciate you. That's great.
I am trying really hard, and I think I'm the only company out there who's real. Like we went to a hemp show recently. Brian, my husband and I went to Raleigh to a hemp show, and my husband came up and he said to me, "Do you know all the clothes here are from China?" I said, "Yes, I know." So we have to get away from that. We have to be able to say, first of all, we have to begin to support products made in the USA. And if we don't do that, we might as well. And we have to be able to support the industry that we are in. And somebody has to step up and say, okay, I'm going to really help you. And I don't necessarily want to.
So that's what I'm saying. It might be a project that Bill, since he's a big farmer, might be a project that the Gates Foundation might want to get involved in.
So should I have my little granddaughter who lives in Seattle go to his waterfront home and bang on the door?
I don't think he's there all that much, but who knows?
Probably going to bang on the gate. Probably not going to bang.
Yeah, I think the security around the world's fourth richest man's got to be pretty tight, right?
That's a big deal if you're in Seattle and you cross one of those bridges. Everybody says,
I lived in Seattle for 7 years. He has back then it was a $300 million house. I can only imagine what it's like now.
Yeah, I can't imagine, but I can. But that's just kind of, I just keep plugging along. I can tell you, I get very discouraged. I really and truly do. There are moments when I cry about this business.
Yeah.
Well, we got to keep lifting each other up. That's for sure.
Yep. My husband says we're going to retire one day. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to sleep on beanies.
Yeah. To do what, right?
Well, it'll be soft.
Live on that Social Security check. Yeah, that'll get you far.
Susan, we want to thank you very much for taking time out of your day today and helping fill us in on what's going on in your world and how that's all working. And again, if people want to get your product, we go to www.shempyarn.com.
Yep. And I really appreciate it. And I do hope all of you will buy a beanie.
Sure.
Or a pair of socks.
Blaine will want a green and white one.
I'm sorry, Blaine, but they're natural hemp colored with the color underneath them. And right now it's purple or black.
That's the toughie.
Well, Susan, I want you to hang on. We're gonna do some news here and some other stuff, but I want you to hang on after we go off live. I want to talk to you a little bit about your website a little bit.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks. Everybody go buy some socks and beanies. It's still cold up here, so we still need those beanies. That's for sure.
That's the truth. And I live in Florida, and I'm still wearing one.
Well, down there, you can always tell the Northerners because it's like, 60 degrees. You guys are wearing coats. We're wearing T-shirts and underwear,
Listen, it's 60 degrees, and I'm wandering around in a T-shirt. You should see my neighbors looking at me. They're like, are you nuts? I'm like, God almighty, it is hot.
Yeah.
That's because
Mike, you got some news you want to share with us?
Well, I'll take one right out of the gate that you're going to find interesting. This release this morning, Twitter to allow ads for cannabis THC products in the United States. Not just THC products, but also CBD products, accessories, services, etc. will be now allowed to go on the Twitter platform. The full details are at 420post.com. You can read all about it and find out what you need to do. But now you can put your CBD products, I assume your products too, Susan, on Twitter, and they won't get jerked off the platform. The other thing that came out yesterday was the January sales for cannabis in the state of Michigan, and down a little bit from December because the holidays, a lot of people were buying. But even with that, in January of this year, we sold $207.3 million worth of adult legal cannabis and medical cannabis. And that was up 37% from a year ago. So as we all know, the prices are crashing in the state because of oversupply. So consumers love it. But at the same time, the sales continue to rise. More and more people are buying it. And I don't have a breakout for CBD products, but I guess they would fall under the medical marijuana area. But good news there. We continue to grow. I mean, and the 2022 total, I just finally saw it, was, I believe, $2.3 billion for all of 2022. So we're still the second ranked sales state in the country, behind California, which has 4 times the population. So lots of folks are smoking it or eating it or whatever here, you know. So go Michigan. So and then for those folks that want to grow it either indoors or outdoors, we just had Jerry DeBabney on the show from Homegrown Pros, and he sells a line of equipment that has everything. I mean, it has the filter so your whole house doesn't smell like a skunk, you know. He's got the lighting, he's got the nutrients, he's got it all. Sells them in kits. And then for the outdoor growers, because in Michigan, as you know, we can grow up to 12 plants outdoors. He's got stuff for that too. So if you want to, and he's got a special on right now for our audience, because we had him on my streaming video show yesterday, 420 Post. And so if you check that out at 420post.com, then you'll find out the details if you want to grow it either indoor, outdoor, whatever you want to do. Home Grow Pros can fix you up. So there you go.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Mike. So a little bit of news. So iHemp Michigan is going to be helping sponsor the classes we're going to do this spring here are going to be on building with industrial hemp building material. Our very first one is going to be located here in Grand Haven. It's going to be March the 18th at the Grand River Sailing Club. It's going to start about 9 o'clock. We're going to have a little networking from 8 to 9. And we're going to have a great lineup of informed speakers and people that work with the products. And so we're looking forward to doing that. We'll have more information out. We'll probably send an email out with how you can sign up and register for it. We'll have a little lunch involved. It's going to run from about, 9 to 3. And that's going to be on Saturday, March 18th. That'll be our first one. The next one we're going to hold is going to be on Saturday, March the 25th. And we're planning that hopefully somewhere near the Ann Arbor area, Mike, so you can come join us that day. So that's what's going on there. I just saw a little blurb from Kim Crows with Fiber for it, and so she's going to send me a little more information. But she's going to have a workshop. She's talking about how to do something with bathrooms. I'm assuming insulate them or whatever. But so she's going to send me some more information. That's going to happen this spring. So she'll have a class going on if people can attend there to get a little hands-on experience. We'll also have some this summer. We will definitely have some field days, actually going to some projects that are being built and using the material as well. So you can stay tuned kind of for that information. NOCO is coming up in March. We're going to hope to have Morris on the show here real shortly and talk about that. Probably one of the largest expos with hemp. And that'll be in Colorado at the Broadmoor Hotel. And that's in March. The latter part of March is when that is. So what else we got in the good news? U.S. Hemp Authority announces a new partnership, and they're going to have a webinar. So U.S. Hemp Authority is the orange seal that people may see on some of the products, and allows consumers to know that the company that manufactured or is selling that product, the CBD products, have gone through some rigorous steps to make sure that they're putting out a good, safe product. So U.S. Hemp Authority is now partnered with Perry Johnson. Actually, Perry Johnson is out of Michigan here. They're located in the Troy area. I've used them numerous times for audits that I've had to do with food safety stuff. They're a great company to work with. And they're going to have a webinar on March the 1st, if you want to learn a little bit about that. And Brett McMillan is going to be on the webinar talking about what they do, how to get that. If anybody has any questions, they can contact me through Down on the Farm, and I can help them with that. I am busy actually right now writing a few plans for people to get through their audits that they have to do to make sure they're putting out a safe product, kind of a food safety kind of thing.
I've got one little news snippet here, Blaine.
All right, absolutely.
So on our homepage, we have an article about the EPA is seeking input. So they have a couple of dates set up, March 2nd and March 22nd and April 19th, where they're talking about ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in buildings, which, that dovetails right into building with hemp, and this is a project I've been working on, is a little craft project to demonstrate and do some education. As Susan pointed out, we need this education, how you can use hempcrete. So
that's a pretty good looking brick, Dave.
Well, it's ultimately in this is 1.0. It's going to be a little birdhouse. With my plan, because you can actually build a house. This isn't the final version. This is 1.0. Look for 2.0 soon.
You're doing your research projects. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we'll look forward to having those, and that's for sure. U.S. Hemp Roundtable put out some information here. The red alerts in 2 states concerning trends and others. Virginia has some bills where if you're in Virginia, you need to pay attention to this. They will criminalize hemp extract products that contains more than 2 milligrams of THC per package. There's some stuff going on in Washington. There's also some stuff going on in Tennessee. So if you're a grower or a processor of CBD products in those states, you might want to do a little research. And you can go to the U.S. Hemp Roundtable website, and they'll have them listed on there. Again, it says red alert in 2 states concerning trends and others would be probably the topic you find there. So they're still doing a great job getting the word out and being able to get CBD on a regulated path so that we can get it out into the markets and other players can feel comfortable knowing that it's going to be something they can invest in. That's another problem we have as well.
Yeah,
Got to get Congress and Congress to get some passing, because FDA they want to punt it. So that's what's going on there. Anything else anybody wants to mention before we get into the main part of the show?
Running out of time. Do you have a recipe?
I got a recipe. Yes, I do. It is a cold day still up here in Michigan. We still got, but really, folks, we've only got about 40-some days left before baseball starts. So, things got to start improving.
I don't know if you've been an opening day in Detroit, but it can be a really cold experience. So.
It can be cold, that's for sure.
Oh, boy. So
this is a cauliflower hemp soup. The taste of cloves with cauliflower is so yummy. This serves about 6 to 8 bowls of it, and it's ready in about an hour. And here we go. Thank you, Jim. So the ingredients are 1 tablespoon of hemp seed oil, 2 cloves of fresh garlic, 1 onion diced, a head of cauliflower diced, a carton of vegetable broth, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half cup of hemp hearts, grated Parmesan optional, 2 tablespoons of parsley chopped is also optional, but I think you need that for the color to make it look nice. If you don't know where to find the oil or the hemp hearts, go to downonthefarm.biz and we can supply you with that for sure. And it gives you the recipes there, how to do it. It's pretty simple to do. And I think it'd be a yummy, yummy treat on these cold days yet, because we've got a few more left. There's a yin and yang in life, and so winter's still here for a while. So we got to get through March for sure. So that's what I have for today, guys.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks again, Susan. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Okay, and stay on, Susan, when we close the show today. Stay on for a little bit.
I will. Thank you.
Look forward to the next shows we're going to have. Like I say, we're going to try to get Morris Beagle. We talked a little bit about NOCO and get his aspect. He has quite a high view of what's going on in the hemp world. So we'll look forward to having him on the show. So, all right.
All right. Peace and love.
Okay, everybody.
All right. Keep warm.
Keep him in.